Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing today? My name is JT, and welcome back to another episode of the Gio and JT Podcast. How are we doing today?
Are you talking to me or the people?
Both.
I'm doing pretty good myself. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go let my cat out. Uno momento. It'll take 2 seconds.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yes, who's
dun.
back?
All right.
Back again.
Hey, you know what we didn't do?
I mean, we haven't done a lot. We haven't done... Can't really think of stuff off the top of my head. What you got?
You know what it is. Hold on. Give me a second. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Just had a little thing going on. But we haven't done the theme song. Cue that theme music. Gio, JT Podcast under 30 minutes. Man, I really hope I don't lose my high fall set of voice for doing that. But today we are back on our Walt Disney animated feature film train, and we are going to be talking about Peter Pan. Oh boy, do we have stuff to talk about?
Does whatever a Peter can. Wait, that's not right.
Oh, brother.
Anyways.
So, as always, we have our trusty friend, Wikipedia. Now, Wikipedia can be wrong, I know, but it's good to just keep me on track. So, this came out in 1953. It was the final Disney film animated film released through RKO Radio Pictures. Now, we talked about RKO Radio Pictures all the way back in the podcast episode 1. And so
Was it episode 1?
It might have been episode 2. But this was the last one to be released through RKO Pictures. And this is based off, and because the next film we talk about, Lady and Tramp, will be released through a different distributing company. We'll talk about that next episode. But this is based off the J.M. Barrie 1904 play or / book of the same name. And the film had 3 directors: Hamilton Luskin, Clyde Jerome, oh boy, and Wilfred Jackson. One of my favorites, Wilfred Jackson. Anyway, featuring the voices of Bobby Driscoll, Catherine Vermont, Hans Corden, Bill Thompson, Heather Angel, Phil Collins, Tom Luskin, Candy Condito, Tom Conway, and others. So, if you remember episode 9, we talked about Catherine Brumart. She was Alice. So she's back again. So Walt Disney. So yeah. Now, Gio, have you seen Peter Pan?
Of course.
What do you think of it?
Have you?
Yeah. Wow.
It's alright.
Oh wait, hold on, give me a second. So as I was saying, what was I saying?
Something about the girl who played Alice.
Oh yeah, Catherine Brumart. I can never pronounce her name right. Played Alice in Alice in Wonderland, and she's back playing Wendy in this film. So Disney has always loved this project, or has always loved this book. I believe, if I'm not, grew up with this book. He was born in early 19th or 20th century. So yeah, he grew up with this book. And so he had always wanted to adapt this, but he really considered it after or around 1935. He purchased the film rights from Paramount, which they had their own version, or they were, and began early development of the year. But then the attack on Pearl Harbor happened, and all the World War II stuff happened, which we've already kind of gone into. And so the Walt Disney Company kind of sat on this for a decade, similar to Alice in Wonderland and Lady and the Tramp. Um, so you will find concept art from across the night, like from the 1940 for this film. This came out in 1953. That's a good decade, like, difference.
Right.
So yeah, this film had a lot of like long production history stuff. But it wasn't until 1949 that they restarted production for this. This was also the last film where all the Disney Nine Old Men worked together as directing animators, because some would go off working on different films. Some would work on different films throughout the animation studio, like Lady and the Tramp, Sleeping Beauty, and some other stuff going on. And some would step up and be directors. And so yeah. Let's see. And it also is famous for a certain racial stereotype that they have, which we're gonna have to talk about.
Oh, I know what you're referring. I know what you're.
Yeah, but let's first talk about the actual production, the return back to production. So, as we said, as we've said in the last, during the 40s, Disney was not making a lot of money, and so so there had only been 3 projects around late 40s that the Disney company were working on that wasn't like about to come out. And that were going to be full-length features. That was Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, and Peter Pan. Yeah? Did you ask a question?
I was just ending on. I was just saying, okay.
And so Disney felt that Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan were too cold, and like the characters in those didn't feel like joyful, if you know what I mean. But Cinderella, because it had similar elements to Snow White, he greenlit Cinderella. That was the one that first came back. And then and then in May, Variety reported it. Variety is you know what Variety is, right?
Yeah.
They're a news source. They reported that Peter Pan had been placed back into production. Like the scene in the nursery went through many alterations. In one version, Mr. Darling finds who finds Peter Pan's shadow and shows it to. Oh, wait, Mrs. Darling finds Peter Pan's shadow and shows it to Mr. Darling, as in the original play. And then another version, Nana goes to Neverland with the Darling children. But I don't really know if they ever explained why she didn't. I think maybe it was just going to be difficult to animate the dog, and they're like, "What do we do with the dog?" That's my best guess. And there were there was also John, the one in the top hat with the cane. There was a version that said he left behind because he was too serious and practical and didn't believe in the imagination or whatever. And another thing that was kind of changed, or that was happening, was the book is dark. The book is really dark. So if you don't know,
you and I have talked about that separately.
We've talked about that on our own. The book itself is really dark. And in the sense that like Peter Pan is a villain essentially, because he never grows up. I mean, he's young and he kills people. Yeah. And their hangout is called Hangman's Tree. I wonder what happens to the Lost Boys when they grow up.
Yeah, you can enter that one on your own, guys.
But we're gonna pass by that. And so, uh, yeah, live action reference. Let's jump to that. So with previous Disney films, we talked about live action reference footage where they would record an actual actor who's usually the one who's voicing them, doing stuff so they can animate because humans are difficult to animate without the reference footage. Um, so there were a lot of speaking of which, I actually have I want to show this thing. Do you see this?
Yeah, I can see.
So shout outs to this YouTuber SBN Enter for showing this. I muted the video because I don't want it. But here's like some like reference footage. So you see Captain Hook and Peter Pan, and then you see him here. And then here's the mermaid part. So like the way they would do it is not always would they follow this directly, but usually like if they were trying to get a specific movement, that's usually what the reference footage stand for. And it's
would
really
would it be necessary that they wore their costumes? Because could they not just like wear?
I mean, like if you're seeing this, probably. Well, yeah. Sometimes, like if you're like a character like the Evil Queen who has her cape billowing, I would say yeah, because again, it's hard to kind of animate where would that cape go.
Okay.
And the costume stuff. Like it's and like where side like another example, Peter Pan's feather. Like where would his feather be? You know.
Right.
And so that kind of stuff, I would say, like wearing those costumes, it also allows the actor like to really delve into the character more than just recording the voice, you know.
Uh-huh.
How long have we been recording? Okay, I want to talk about the elephant in the room.
Here we go.
Bobby Driscoll. Do you know?
Try to do an elephant.
So, do you know who Bobby Driscoll is?
I do not.
So he was one of the first Disney child stars.
Cool.
He was in Song of the South, So Dear to My Heart, and Treasure Island, the one that was in 1950. And he was in some other stuff, and then his big role was in Peter Pan. And he even won an Academy Juvenile Award for So Dear to My Heart and The Willow, which was another RKO thing. But he was also a child star. So,
right.
Peter Pan was, I believe, his last role. It was the last role he did with Disney. Because he went through puberty. And Disney thought as the boy was going through puberty, he was worthless. As soon as like he started going through puberty, he was like, you know what? No more. Contracts canceled, all of that. And so
he was broke for going through life.
Let me. So then he, when he tried to go back to school, people would bully him for being in kids films, or at the time they saw kids films, and he had not many friends. He got in fights and started drinking and having drugs when he was late teens. It was really trouble for him to get work. He tried to go to Broadway. Remember, Broadway wasn't always musical theater. It was also just plays in general. That didn't really work out. And in, oh boy, geez, on March 30th in 1968, two boys playing in the deserted Eastside Village found Driscoll's corpse lying with two empty bottles and a religious pamphlet scattered across the ground. a poem. The police said he died of a heart failure caused by overdose in drugs. No one identified his body. No one identified or whatever, and his unclaimed body was buried in a random in a pauper's grave. But then a couple years later, or in 1907, hold on, and his mother in 1969 tried to find him, and sought through Disney contacts and studios, hoped to reunite with his father, who's nearing death, and she found that he was dead. And to this day, he is still buried on Hart's Island, and yeah, so that's the gist. And
Wow.
And he died when he was when he was 31. 31. He died alone, and he died because he had no one. He didn't have anyone. And it was really sad. And what's even worse is that, oh boy, in 2022, there is a film that came out on Disney Plus called Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, and it was kind of like a CG whatever thing of the Rescue Rangers are back, and the villain was Peter Pan, voiced by Will Arnett, like this old Peter Pan who was washed away.
Right.
Originally, they wanted Charlie Brown, but because of legal rights, they were like, you know what, let's just do Peter Pan. That's what happened to Bobby Driscoll. They outright just basically showed, like, oh, yeah, the reason why Peter Pan that cartoon thing stopped working was because he was getting older. That's happened to Bobby Driscoll. And they made him the villain. That is messed up. Taking a real life person who existed, and taking what happened to him and making that character a villain.
How do you know they did that, like, on purpose as Bobby? Like, how do you know they weren't just doing that for, like, the plot?
Look, it might have been coincidental, but this is public knowledge. This is stuff that look, and they probably knew about this, because this is a big thing, because Bobby Driscoll's last role was Peter Pan. And, like, I think a quote he had was, "I was on a silver platter and they threw me out." And that's just the reality of child stars, man. Like, this stuff I can't fully talk about, because I'm not fully known. But it is important to, I would say, the history of this film. Yeah.
I can't even pretend like you're, like, taking it too far or something, because if I'm being honest, I was like, okay, maybe it's just a coincidence. But the part that you said, like, the line he had,
the quote, yeah,
I feel like they're, like, they're just, that's messed up.
Yeah, it is.
And again, they could have, like, accidentally, like, maybe they didn't realize, or, like, the person who was making it, maybe they didn't know who Bobby Driscoll was, or they didn't realize that they were doing it, like, on accident.
Yeah, but it's really hard to, like, watch that film and then to think it's like,
and think it was an accident, because it lines up so perfectly, the fact that, like, it's Peter Pan, and, like, he's talking about getting older, and, like, that they won't use him anymore. It's just like, it's too coincidental that they would accidentally do that, I feel.
Now let's talk about the other elephant in the room. I know. Well, actually, no. We'll take a pause. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about something not controversial. for a second. The music. So the music. So
Okay.
you remember our guy named Frank Churchill that we talked about a while back in the Bambi part?
Maybe.
He was the composer. So. He was the guy who wrote the music, and was at his piano one day, and then bang.
Someone shot him?
He killed himself, bud. Remember, we talked about this because we talked about this. We did. Anyway, I know. I
guess I didn't.
Anyway, Frank Churchill. This also is about to show how long in production this film was. He wrote, that main theme that you hear when Peter Pan enters, we see him for the first time, the Peter Pan.
Yeah.
That he wrote that before he died. Like this, it kind of shows how far in production this film was. Or not, how long of production this film was in. And the opening song, the second star to the right, was, if I'm not mistaken, supposed to be in Alice in Wonderland or something. And that was supposed to be in Alice in Wonderland. It was, I think, a song, but they didn't know where to put it, so they just changed it for this film. They changed the lyrics. It's really cool. And then I think also another cool thing was the animation for this film. Hold on. I want Peter Pan. I will. Hold on. So this part here in the "You Can Fly" song,
yeah,
that was, guess what technique they used for that part thing? You probably
the people one, the one.
Okay, the multiplane camera, which is the thing that you.
Oh yeah.
It's really the "You Can Fly" sequence is, my opinion, the best part of this film. Because of how well they animate it, and the song itself has great harmonies, and it's so well done, and that
you can fly,
you can okay, and has great character animation and all that, and Disney, I think, has done the best flying ever. The animator for Peter Pan, he had to find a way to make it look like Peter Pan was floating, but not he didn't have weight to him, which is a troubled thing to do when you're having a hand-drawn character.
Right.
What were you going to say?
I wasn't going to say anything. Oh, I hit the raise hand button on accident.
Okay. Okay, bud. We got to talk about it.
Here we go.
We got to talk about the...
I mean, if you talk about Peter Pan, you have to eventually,
Yeah. So, if you don't know, which, good for you, this film portrays Native Americans. And they call them Indians and other words that I will not be saying. Because I am not comfortable saying this online. And so, basically, it's even worse in the book because J.M. Barrie's English. He's British. He didn't know any Native American culture, and so he confused them with Chinese culture. With Chinese culture, yeah.
Someone put the picture of I showed Speed going.
No, please do not. Please do
That's
not.
crazy, dude.
But yeah, it's way worse in the book. At least Disney didn't do that. But then again, yeah.
What's wrong with calling them Indians?
It's not their preferred name.
What do you mean preferred name?
The Native Americans do not like to be called that. Do not want to be called that.
Oh, did they say that?
I don't know. It's just culturally what it is. Okay?
Okay.
Anyway, Disney did a little better because they showed stuff that actually Native American people did have, but also
Right.
then you have the song "What Makes the Red Man Red."
Oh, I was thinking of Ugawug.
Huh?
Ugawug, 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 wah. Maybe that's only in the musical, not the movie. I don't know if it's in the movie.
Anyway, what makes the Red Man Red is also pretty racist because it has this idea of the first indigenous prince because they look red. I say that in quotation marks because they don't. That's why they're red, because they're blushing.
They make them look red in the movie. They make them look red in the movie.
Yeah, and then have these outrageous voices and stuff, and then also
like that.
And also, there's so much going into this. I cannot, because I am not an expert in this. But yeah, this is probably the worst thing that this film ever has done. Luckily, they fixed that on the Disney ride. On the Disney ride, it's not whatever the film. It's actually appropriate. Not appropriating, but just appropriate. So yeah, not cool. I don't know what else to talk about.
What is it with Disney? There's a lot of Disney and controversy. It's the big three for Disney. There's scaring children. There's being not only racist, but just factually correct when it comes to that, and just overall, I guess, offensive and just
okay.
Does Disney have those goals? They just come into the office one day, have it up on the whiteboard. All right, guys, what are we gonna do today? Well, sir, I have a new idea of how we can scar children for life.
Brother.
Perfect. Let me hear it. We're working with the new what you got. We can have the children turn into donkeys and have them screaming for their mothers and stuff. Great, love it. Next. Bro, what?
Look, that will when we get to Moana, Brother Bear, there will be a lot less of this because they actually did research trips and did pretty good at showing the culture.
And I haven't seen Brother Bear in years.
I feel forever. A little underrated, but anyway. And then when we talk about Jungle Book, it's gonna be up. Oh boy, I can't wait to talk about Jungle Book.
Jungle Book was good.
It's great.
It was great.
But there's some things that we'll talk about. Anyways, later.
Tell me after, because I don't know.
That's all we have time for today. JT, Gio, and JT out.